Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Midel Archives. We are very close to the holy day, Yom Godel v'Kodesh, Yom Ilula, Gimel Tammuz, the Lul of the Rebbe. There is so much to share from the folders of Rabbi Mindel about the Rebbe. Letters with the Rebbe and the Friedrich Rebbe told him certain things he wrote down, subjects, ideas, politics, and more. And B'chal the Rebbe Shita. So the Rebbe shared with him, because he worked with the Rebbe for 50 years. So I don't know what to say. L'kovid Gimel Tammuz, such a day. Rabbi Mindel was a big Baal Mesuder. He has a lot of things, and I don't know what to say. Whatever he says is not enough. Now, many people speak about the Rebbe's milas, the greatness of the Rebbe. The Rebbe's miracles. The Rebbe does nisim. But I think most of the things that was already said. But whatever was said is not enough. Such a Rebbe, you can describe such a Rebbe. And it's not because of the miracle, the mufsim. We put too much emphasis. Moshe Rabbeinu, it says, wasn't Moshe because of his mufsim, because of he was a leader. And as Rabbi Mindel writes in the introduction of the letter and spirit, and by the way, we're coming out now soon with number 6. He writes in the introduction that the Rebbe wore 3 crowns. Number 1, the Manhig Chabad. He was a leader of Chabad. Number 2, he was a Manhig, a leader of Klal Yisrael. We know, to all Yidden. And he was a Manhig Ha'olam, a leader of the entire world. That's why he went with Shabbat Mitzvah Neach for everybody. There was never a Rebbe since the Holocaust that turned over the world. People after the Holocaust had questions in Amunah, had questions in Mashiach. The Rebbe brought back Yiddishkeit, millions of Jews, religious and not religious. So there are no words to describe, to speak about the greatness of the Rebbe. But since it's for Gimel Tammuz, so I want to share with you a fascinating story of the Rebbe that happened while Rabbi Mindel was in the room taking dictation. This was written from Rabbi Mindel. Fascinating story. But before I tell you the story, I want to make an introduction. Even though I had once mentioned that, but people that didn't hear should hear it. Before I tell you the story, I want to say this. And people still don't know how the letters went. First of all, I want to say, it's not from me, it's written. All michtovim klolim, all letters, like for Shavuos, for Yontif, the Rebbe wrote, Hebrew and English, or for Pesach, or for Sukkot, michtovim klolim. All michtovim klolim uprotim, letters that were written to banquets, a lot. I have all of them. Dinners, concerts, Hebrew, English, was dictated to Rabbi Mindel, and the Loshen, the language of those letters, are the language of Rabbi Mindel. Meaning that he went into the Rebbe 3 times a week, sometimes 2, and the Rebbe opened every single letter And the Rebbe gave him a nikuda. Then he went and he home after taking dictation. And I have the dictation over here, his shorthand. He knew shorthand. He knew Hebrew shorthand. He knew English shorthand. He knew Russian shorthand. And he composed those letters. He brought it back to the Rebbe. And then the Rebbe looked it over. Sometimes the Rebbe, Rabbi Mendel didn't understand. So the Rebbe had to put Mara Mekemi's notations. So he went back again. He had to type it again, work on it again, until the Rebbe signed the letter and became the Rebbe's letter. But the wording is Rabbi Mendel's wording. English, all English letters. Igros Kodesh, most of them were Rabbi Mendel. In the beginning years, there's Rabbi Rothstein. He did a few. Those letters that he did wasn't the big, long letters. Then Rabbi Mendel wasn't here. Rabbi Simpson, Rabbi Quint wrote letters of Chasanis or other things. But the Iker letters of the Igros Kodesh, or the whole thing, is the Lashon of Rabbi Nisim Mendel. And this is how the letters went. So I have the Haggahs, the Matej of the Rebbe, of the Rebbe. And Rabbi Mendel writes that the Michtovim Klolim he had a hard time, because it was like a sicha, the Rebbe told him. And to compose such a letter was not easy. So it took him, and sometimes he wrote and he gave it to the Rebbe, and it was wrong pshat. The Rebbe did not have that in mind. The Rebbe only gave him an akuda. That's the way Rabbi Mendel understood. So he had to do it over again. The Rebbe wrote notation over again. So and many times he had a hard time with especially with the Mechtovim clothing. So Rabbi Mendel, who knew the Rebbe style and worked over years for 50 years with the Rebbe, many times the Rebbe had to make a lot of notations because to explain better. So Allah has kama v'kamo. Now, when people say over letters from the Rebbe, there has to be accurate. Lav dafke, that they understand exactly what the Rebbe meant. A couple months ago, I heard lectures, speakers, learning the Rebbe's English or Hebrew letters, which is a wonderful thing, to learn the Rebbe's letters. You can learn so much. But I need to make two corrections. And this is all written from the Rebbe letters. The Rebbe says, Kol ha'omer b'shem omerei mevi geula l'olam. You have to say where that comes from. I saw many letters that came from the Igros Kodesh. You have to say it comes from the Igros Kodesh. The speaker should say that I saw the letter in the letter and spirit. And many letters come from the letter and spirit because I have the notations. And they should say where it comes from. Number two, when one explains a letter or a sikha, they can't put their own philosophy. Because I saw that some letters were explained in their way, and that is not what the Rebbe meant, because there are notations that it's not what the Rebbe meant. So they have to know, when you do a letter, do exactly, if you explain, don't do your own philosophy. And if you do, say that this is my opinion, but that's not what the Rebbe said. This is a very important point. Then it's not accurate. And that's not what the Rebbe has in mind. The same thing goes also in Kuntresim or Sichas Maimorim. Now I'm going to tell you a story. Rabbi Mendel went to the Rebbe to take dictation. The Rebbe opens up a letter. As I said, the Rebbe opens up every letter. Then the Rebbe gives it to him and says, read it. and he read it. And the Rebbe laughs. Er lacht. What does he write there? He writes there that he has complaints to the Rebbe. He's a bocher. He was a bocher. He asked. He went out with a asked the Rebbe about a certain girl that he's going out. So should he continue going out? So the Rebbe says, continue. So he continued. He continued. And he didn't have Amshochas Halev. He thought it wasn't for him. So he told the Rebbe, I don't have Amshochas Halev. So the Rebbe says, continue. He didn't tell him to get married. Continue. He continued. He went a third time. Maybe it was a little better, but it wasn't 100% Amshochas Halev. And the Rebbe says, continue. What did he do? He got married. Because he thought that since the Rebbe says continue, the Rebbe wants him to get married. So he got married. He got married. After a while, he divorced. So now he complains to the Rebbe, it's because of you. Because you told me I should continue, and that's why I thought that you feel that this is should be my wife, and now it's not for me. So he complains to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe asks Rabbi Mindel, "Vos sagst du of them? What do you say about this?" And he smiles. Rabbi Mindel, in front of the Rebbe, is not going to answer. Didn't say a word. He asks him again. Didn't say a word. Then the Rebbe says that Tzemach Tzedek had an inikel. He was an inikel. And the Tzemach Tzedek was beside the Kedushin, gave brachas. And after 3 months, they divorced. Got married and divorced. So the Mechutin came to Tzemach Tzedek and says, Rebbe, you gave brachas. You were Mr. Kedushin. And now they divorced. What does it mean? So the Tzemach Tzedek answered. The Rebbe says in Yiddish, this is what it says, what it says, the Gemara says, Meishiv chachomim ocher, v'daito makosalin, geht auf uns, that es geht auf emes chachomim. It was fragst du. That means that it says, I think this is by Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, but the Churban Hamikdash Yavne v'chachomeo, they should have said something, and they didn't say it because sometimes the chachomim, real chachomim, answer, but their answer comes from the acher, from the back, and it becomes crooked. That's what the Rebbe answers him. Now, once I showed this answer to Rabbi Yosel Weibergal of Hasholem, he says this answer you can learn a lot of pshatim. This is a very interesting. He says I showed it to him. You can learn all of pshatim. Now. What happened at the end? That's it. I happen to know who that couple was. A year and a half later, they married again. Machzik Rishosei. And Baruch Hashem, they have children, and they're happy, and everything is fine. That's it. One of the speakers, came over to me a couple of years ago and told me, and asked me, do you have anything I need to speak somewhere? Give me something from the Rebbe, from Rabbi Mindel. So I told him this story. Okay, how long did it take me to say the story? Maybe 5 minutes? Okay, it took him almost 45 minutes. Why? Because he added, you have to say a story the way it is. I'm telling you the way it happened. Now you can learn your own pshat. And you can learn a lot from this. But you can't say things, you can't say letters and put your own philosophy. You can't do that. If you want to say it, that's mine. But any letter, or say where it comes from. Because I use letters and people speak English letters. They give things and they say their own ideas, and it's not, from the notations, it doesn't seem that it's 100%. Sometimes it does. So, since we are now before Gimel Tammuz, I thought I would mention this to you. So I hope everybody will make a that people will be accurate in the Rebbe's Sichas, in the Rebbe's Maimorim. stick what the Rebbe says, be mekusha to the Rebbe, learned and all the brachas for all the years that the Rebbe gave. The Rebbe constantly gave brachas and brachas and brachas. This was the Rebbe's life. So mekuyim werden, and befrat the biggest bracha that the Rebbe wanted, as Mashiach zal kommen, take it for miyad mamish. Thank you.